I just want to start it off by saying that there were two elections, one in 2019 and one in, 21. And those two elections, the 7 of you took your seats. 2 years ago, I had no idea anything about local politics whatsoever. Now I do. And now I know the importance of elections. And now I know that there's a majority that's different than the minority of the board. We, the people of Spotsylvania County, elected the 4 majority members. The 4 majority members are in agreement that we need change in this county. And that change does not come with a superintendent that lets kids shove broomsticks up other kids' rear ends. That superintendent does not let male softball coaches go into female locker rooms. You seen that? I seen it on a FOIA. That's a lawsuit. So, yeah, I think an outside of the box superintendent is probably going to be in our best interest of Spotsylvania County Public Schools. We need change. The change that was enacted 2 years ago kept us out of school for how many years? And now we have how much learning loss? Thank you, Dr. Daniels and Don Shelley. You're the 2 left out of that board. All right, so I looked up emerging stars that you guys are having a fit about, and I think it's I had never heard of it before in my life. So I decided to do a simple Google search. I actually made a phone call, because the phone number's on there, to the Executive Director of Emerging Stars, which happens to be Kathy Twigg. I talked to her today, actually. First of all, Mark Taylor is no longer part of the board of directors. He's never received a paycheck from the Emerging Stars. Now, let me explain to you what Emerging Stars is. I'm telling you Kathy Twigg's story. 2 years ago, I realized that my 26-year-old son is developmentally delayed, needed more activities in his life and a community to be involved in. This realization has led to the foundation of Emerging Stars, a nonprofit organization that empowers and encourages young adults with developmental disabilities. This adventure did not start 2 years ago. It began in my heart the day Jonathan came into my life. In 1991, my husband and I sat with Julie, a social worker from Bethany Christian Services, to sign papers to initiate adoption procedures. Julie had told us it would be 2 years or more for a child to become available. At that time, God put on my heart to tell her that we were open to any special children because we wanted what God wanted. It was just a last-minute thought as she walked out the door. I did not know that the statement would change my life forever. Within 1 week, Julie called us and said she had a child for us. A state social worker had called Julie and had a baby boy that was preparing in place for foster care. Julie explained that the mother had taken drugs that could have potentially harmed the baby. She also said the mother was diagnosed with schizophrenia and the baby would be tough for a place for adoption. He had not been aborted because some nurses had kept the homeless mother in the hospital for the last trimester of the pregnancy. They took care of her and gave her baby, my son, life. Jonathan's birth mom loved Jonathan, but her addiction and her own developmental delays kept her from keeping him. It was God's miracle that Jonathan was born and then ended up in the arms of my husband and me. Kirk and I had been involved with pro-life movement for years. We had marched in Washington and knocked on doors to influence legislation, and now we were blessed with the opportunity to parent and love child saved by God's grace. The moment Jonathan was placed in our arms and began our journey of raising our special child in a society that rates success by IQ, accomplishments, and influence. As I watched Jonathan grow up into adulthood, I saw a huge gap and need his and his friends' lives at age 22. They could no longer attend school, and most churches would not accommodate them because they were too old for the youth group and too immature for young adult ministry. Many were unemployable. Those who had jobs and found unemployment typically worked 10 to 15 hours a week. These young adults have no social life, no experience, no place to experience God, no community engagement, and no opportunity to continue developing in their daily living skills. Many spend their days alone with TV and video games. Most clearly of all, I saw their extreme loneliness. So, to throw mud on an organization that helps these children, some of you guys work in the profession of special needs kids, and to throw mud on this is despicable. If you'd like to donate to Emerging Stars, text EMSTARS to 44321. Thank you.